Turning to US politics now, and I know you're following the presidential election very closely, as we all are. It's been 2 years since the US Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade and restored the democratic decision-making of the issue of abortion back to the states where it belongs. And that saved hundreds of thousands of babies' lives in the states where they've acted, like Texas. Since then, though, the Democrats have been setting their hair on fire, and they plan to make abortion front and centre of November's presidential elections. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that's polarising. We'd rather see that kept out of our politics. But we're talking about human lives here. What would it take for us here in Australia to have a proper constructive debate and put the issue of human rights for unborn babies front and centre on the political agenda?
What we would need, Lyle, is people to actually, who have a responsibility, leaders, such as church leaders, to actually take a stand on these sorts of things, to actually speak, because it's very, very difficult to find anybody who will even mention it, much less comment on it. I mean, it's just appalling, the lack of information, the lack of leadership, and we need more of that because we have somewhere in the vicinity of 90,000 babies being killed in this country every year. Now that's the equivalent of a bomb being dropped on the MCG every grand final day, and killing everyone. So what is happening in the States is something that I find quite astonishing. Given that they've got a president over there who can barely remember his own name, but he knows that it's important that they kill babies up until birth, and then turns around and says he's a good Catholic. Well, give it a rest, and that Kamala Harris, who last week was at a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic, doing a publicity stunt. It's just absolutely extraordinary. If the best they can do is say to the American people, you vote for us and we will let you kill your babies. If that's the best they can do, they should give it away now. Because they have the administration, the Biden administration has been somewhat of a disaster, and they're going down this path once again on abortion right up until birth. We're not talking about. There's a cat just ran past. Sorry, we're not talking about anything that might be seen even by moderates as a reasonable thing. We're talking about abortion up until birth. Yeah. And this is something that the Democrats and a lot of people here in Australia too, I might say, are totally committed to. And I say to Joe Biden and Harris should get the hell out of the place. If that's the best they can do, they should get out now.
Yeah, I just think it's extraordinary that as we head into a presidential election, that the Democrats see that as one of their key issues, as if there aren't bigger problems. They have to restore so-called abortion rights. We'll certainly be watching that closely. Now, Bernie, you've been on the road in Gippsland in eastern Victoria, speaking at public meetings and in the local media. You've also been doing some letterboxing. I think there's an image of you on the screen there. Looks like you're ready to run on for Richmond on Saturday. But what are they telling you out there in Gippsland, and what are you hearing in the suburbs?
Well, it's surprising how open they are to a message, because the level of cynicism of people toward the two major parties is quite extraordinary. It surprised even me. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realise it was quite as bad as it is. And people are desperately keen to find an alternative. As I was saying before, there needs to be an alternative, because we have two major parties playing games with each other, not actually believing in much at all, and certainly not believing in the things that are going to be good for Australia and Australians. So people are actually open, and I was surprised, the numbers of people who came, particularly to one meeting in a little place called Orbost. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people in Orbost. But these people are really enthusiastic about the message that there is an alternative and a conservative alternative, because they can see what's happening to the country. And in Gippsland, they particularly have been hit hard by a woke left-wing government, with the closure of Latrobe Valley effectively, and then the closure of the timber industry. So they have copped it left, right and centre. and they are really keen. They feel they've been let down by everybody, and they are really keen to see what we're doing in Family First, and very open to the message that we're spreading.